Sanbonani, this is your host, Gaddafi Manafi, the Entertainment Freedom Fighter, EFF. Welcome to our show today, and we today I decided to bring someone that is in the public eye, but is not in the public eye. So a lot of people may be asking themselves, they've seen him in public, they've seen him, recording and singing. That's what I've been saying. So I bring people on this platform for clarity, for them to speak about themselves and who they are, how they got into the music space, and to also learn, because there's a lot to learn from these particular people that I target. I believe there's a lot to learn. So that would say just listen and take some notes, because I do believe our guest today has a lot to share more than just music. Obviously, it's going to end up to music, but I believe there's a few things that as an upcoming artist aspiring, you can actually learn a lot, and maybe to probably network as well. I just believe so much in this person, and according to my research, it's just that. It's just that. Hendrik Monyeki,
Hi, how are you?
I'm good, how are you?
I'm well, thanks for asking, and special greetings to your viewers this morning.
Yes. Thank you so much for agreeing to having this interview with us today, and so that we can learn, we can know who Hendrik Monyeki is. And by means of, like I said, I see you on the social media platforms, and it's my interest as well. Besides our viewers, but it's also my interest to know who Hendrik Monyeki is, and to also take us through your journey, your musical journey. And what I can actually, what I've picked up is not what I know, but it's based on what you've been putting out there in the public.
Yeah.
Is that you're a music teacher, you're a musician, a writer, a music director, and I'm assuming a producer as well. And
Yes.
Is there anything that I've left out? Are you like a PK or something?
No, I'm not a PK. No.
Okay. So no, there's no title I've left out here, right?
Yeah, no. You are on point. You're on point. Indeed, that's
All right. Thank you for accepting our invitation, and
you're welcome.
we're looking forward to knowing a lot about you. So let's just get into it. Who is Hendrik Monyeki?
Hendrik is a young man from a small place called Hammanskraal called New Easterest.
Oh,
It's a Hammanskraal, yes.
oh.
So I've always been a church boy from tent revivals. I was that boy. O jambanga di suit ku di tenteng ki travela le baruti. I would go as far as yeah. So I would go as far as Buzanini, Musina with pastors. I've always been, back then we were called the chorus leader, At home we used to go to church every day. That's the life I know most of my life. I've never been exposed to anything else apart from church. So I grew up in church. I've always been that boy, Baraki chorus leader. And I remember early in the early 90s, we never had electricity to go high. So we used to sit around the fire. After then we sit around that very fire and then start to sing. And most of the time we'll then sing the hymns, the failure. So I'm that church boy. So my upbringing was normal, just like anybody else. I went to school. I can fit like grade 12. In fact, my parents took me to a commercial school. I studied commerce and maths. I'm very, very good with figures. Then my parents thought maybe I'll become an accountant or financial manager or something like
Yes.
that. And in fact, I disappointed my dad because when I was doing my grade 12, he then asked me, "Munna, what are you going to do next year?" And I said to him, "I'm going to study music." And he said, "Not in this house." And then very little story marking this guy who's tlhokofetseng a sena tšhelete and whatnot. It was that story that happened, and music was not really the favorite thing that parents, any parents, can actually wish their children to follow as a career. And I went ahead, and I remember my dad didn't speak to me for months. Ne? The only way I would communicate with with my dad, is to write a letter and put it on top of his dressing table, and my mom will give me answers. And and for many years, I'm from a family of 9, and we used to live in a front house.
So when I would be like,
Can you? So you can.
nine una mama.
No, 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 no. Including my parents, not 9 children.
Oh,
Okay,
okay,
we were
okay.
7 children. seven, 7 children, and then of course my parents. Now I'm the second last born. The second last born.
Oh, okay.
I still have my elderly brothers and sisters.
Yeah.
We used to live in a front house. Uh, so for many years, Katafi, I had to leave to prove a point to my parents that this is what I love. This is where my heart is. And I was able to build a 12-room house from the money yeah music from from forum to 12-room house. So I've been serving at my church as well, Mutlovadini. So I moved in 2000. Oh, I'm actually driving you to where I am now. So from matric, I told my parents I'm going to study music. My dad was not really supportive, and I had to then save up to pay my own tuition for 6 months. So first
Wow.
semester I was studying music ko Okrim, ko Pretoria.
Yeah.
Ke tsenile Busizwe Magwaza, bo Thokozane, Zanu, known as Zanu, a lot of these other great artists that are out there. We went to the same school then, and for 6 months I paid my own tuition, and from then I started studying very hard, and I got bursaries until I was doing my third year. Then that's when I met Ndate Johnny Mekwa, the late Dr. Johnny Mekwa, the founder of the Music Academy of Gauteng, who offered me a scholarship to say, listen, I want you to come and study at my school. And then to cut the long story short, I studied here and I graduated, and I now have been teaching here for the past 15 years.
Wow. 15
Yeah.
years. How old are you? Are you like 75 years?
No, 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 no. The nice thing is that I studied nicely, studied some music when I was immediately after matric. So I'm not that
Yeah.
old. I'm only 37.
So you studied music for how many years?
Uh, Remember Okrim, I did 3 years Okrim School of Music. Then from there, I did 4 years here at the Music Academy.
Oh, yes.
Yes, then I graduated. And once I graduated, then I became a teacher here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And music, why music? Like you said that you studied, there's, what did you study first? Accounting.
Sorry?
You studied before you
Accounting.
studied music. You did accounting.
Yes. Yeah.
So why was it because when you're doing accounting because you're good at it and your parents is what they wanted you to be, uh, and why did you then move to music? Is it because music was your passion and you were doing the other for your parents? I'm just trying to
Um,
understand why you didn't from the beginning,
yeah,
and
yeah,
why
yeah.
did you start with music? Why did you go into accounting first?
Okay. My dad in particular wanted me to become a financial manager or an accountant. So it took me to a
Mm,
commercial school. So, but I'm very good with that. I'm comfortable with that type of setting as well. But my heart was not there. You
mm,
see, then
mm.
that's when we fought. When I said, "Now I'm not longer doing this thing. Now, me, I want to do music. I want to study music and take it as a profession." And
Yeah,
I promise you, now he's the #1 fan.
yeah.
But back
And
then, he
your
didn't
dad,
understand.
Your dad right now, is your dad still alive?
My dad is still alive. Both my parents are still alive. Yes.
Thank God. And how is he taking it now? Like, because he used to be against it. Now that you are born, you are thriving, you are progressing in this music thing. How
Yeah.
is there any remorse? Is there any I'm sorry, or is it like
Yeah. You know what? No, no, no. He started being sorry when I started building a house. You know, because he
yeah,
saw that, actually this thing would work for him, because I could understand that it's every parent's wish that every child wa motswadi o mong le o mong o batla ho bona ngwana hae a tswelletse pele, you know what I mean. So why put so what if I die, and then one who's still wondering what they want to do and what not.
yeah,
So they
yeah,
want that assurance to, that before they leave this earth, that their children are stable and are able to make a living
yeah,
out of what they do.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
And your so now he's supportive towards your music.
Most supportive. In fact, he asked me, "Hey, when is your next show?" or something like that.
Oh,
They are most
nice,
supportive people. Yeah, very, very
nice.
supportive.
And then, was it your so you decided to become a music teacher? Was that always the plan that when you got the scholarship that when I'm done, this is what I'm going to do, or is it something that was offered to you and that's why you became a music teacher?
Um, at first when he started, I didn't know that I love teaching, but I
Mm,
started seeing how the results, the outcome afterwards. Like first time when I was given the opportunity to teach, I saw that I could actually do this thing. I was very passionate. I was very consistent. I was very like for people. You would have student who needs attention now, like motho no bolela fela, people come with different issues when they come to class. Then you somehow become like a parent to those individuals. You have to give them an ear, you have to listen, you have to support and all that.
yeah,
So I was then able to handle that type of an environment, and
mm,
for many years I've seen great outcomes from all my students. Actually, I've never had a student who got lower than a distinction. Like
wow,
it's either they merit or distinction, you know.
yeah,
Yeah, so
that's
that to me was a
great.
good sign that actually I'm called to do this thing.
Yeah, and okay, out of the honest. I wanna
Yeah,
more in the gospel space, particularly. Okay, let's
yeah,
say in the music industry. Okay, why do you
yeah,
disagree? In the music industry, we see that when someone has talent. So this is Gaddafi, and I studied PR, and but I I love music,
mm,
and I just and because I know a lot of I've got connections in the industry now. Like so I can just decide to go to Nigeria and then release a singer because I've got connections and I
yeah,
can sing.
mm.
And I don't see any need for me to go and study. And what this leading to my question, I would say, why was it important for you? I would say, you wanted to go and study music before you become actively in the music industry.
I think the best question would then be, why do doctors go to medical school? We have a very big problem as South Africans. I don't know where do we get this thing. As long as
Yeah,
someone has a recording, a CD, then they are called musicians.
yeah,
Can so it means to other people, it means if someone can tell you, okay, mix take panado and make lemon, mix it with stone, they're
yeah,
a doctor.
doctors for you. Doctors, yes,
You understand? So we have a
yeah,
wrong perspective about this whole thing. I think we need to fix that, you know? So for me, we need to acquire knowledge, we need to go to school and get qualifications so that the
yeah,
people can start treating us right. people treat us the way they do because we lack knowledge to start with.
yeah,
We don't know,
yeah,
you don't know. Like you're speaking about PR, talking about music business. We don't know that music is business.
yeah,
That as much as Hendrik can be able to pay you 500,000, how much is Hendrik making? So we need to start thinking about such things. That is very important, that we have to go to school. I thought about that, but you know what, for people to take me serious, also my parents, even my very parents at home, remember
yes,
when I started, they said, what is this thing? So I had to do it professionally so that they can really buy into this thing. Or no, Mutuoman, he's a professional. He's not just a singer. He's not, I see, chorus leader. So now there's a difference when I sing at church and
yeah,
when I now go on a professional platform.
yeah,
Now this is a profession for me. This is work for me.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. And what have you learned from the late Johnny Network? Like as someone who has mentored you into the space that you are so passionate about. What is it that you have learned from him whilst he was still alive?
Above everything else, I've learned time management. I've learned to honor time. Time is
Yeah,
everything. Once
yeah,
you mess up with time, you can't regain it. I'm always early for my interviews. I'm always early for my performances. I'm always early for flights, because one time I tried this. Plane ke ile ntshia ke e lebeletse so ke le ka mo airport. So so I've learned the importance of time. So time management and also professionalism, that you need to be serious, you need to be accountable, you need
yeah,
to write things down, plan your things.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
And who have you worked with so far since you've been a musician? Um, uh, should we conclude that you are a gospel musician? Like
Um
you're not a jack of
no,
all trades.
no,
You're a
no.
gospel
I don't I don't want to be boxed.
musician.
And here's another thing I'm trying to teach people. Ne?
Yes,
As much as we are saying music, no, wait, let me start here. As much as we are saying that gospel means the good news, ne? So it means anything else that speaks about love, that encourages, that speaks about hope, is then good gospel.
yeah.
Because it's not, to us, Timomomo and Jesu, it's the only gospel.
Come on!
you know and that's a wrong perspective. It's a wrong perspective. Then we are
Yeah,
limited. If your song is encouraging and speaks about love and hope, that's the gospel. You're
yeah,
building somebody, you're giving somebody help. That's the gospel.
yeah,
So me, I don't like being boxed,
yeah,
because also this is how we get stuck and relapse because we are
yeah,
so channeled to one thing. We're
yeah,
thinking this is the only thing. Can't
yeah,
when I sing gospel, yes, I'm then able to do my corporate gigs and whatnot, and which is quite important because I need to pay my rent. I need to do other duties that needs money.
yeah, yeah. Um, so so far though, you've been more in the gospel space, like with the music that you produce and you write and all, or have you stepped out of and have you done other genres besides singing gospel?
I'm professionally trained as a jazz singer. So I
Ah,
started as a jazz. Yes. So I
I
started as a.
you're gonna sing for us today, like at the end.
I wish. So I started as a jazz vocalist. In fact, 85% of my resume was formed out of jazz,
Yeah,
because I've done a lot of your corporate gigs with the big band, and then I've
mm,
worked in that Jonas Gwangwa, Miss
yeah,
Bongilo Kumalo, Slalo Slota, and so forth. So I've been in that space for the longest time.
Wow. I was
So
about. I was actually my next question was better all name drop here, like mention people that you have
yeah,
that you have worked with. But
yeah,
now that you mentioned that, it makes sense. But you must then, do something about jazz, because I think people, a lot of musicians, especially jazz artists, they run away from that talent because they think it doesn't have a market. But that's not actually, you have a market, and we are all waiting for you guys to do something. And because me, now personally, I would more promote jazz than I do gospel because I'm a jazz
yeah,
lover. You know,
yeah.
but because
Oh,
there's only a few people, only a few jazz artists that exist, and hence I'm so excited about people like Etienne Mawang Teto, that he has
yeah,
he's seen as a gospel, music music director or whatever, songwriter.
yeah,
But
mm,
actually, I think he's a gospel artist. Sorry, a jazz
true.
artist. Now that he has
Yes,
released this, people get to experience the side of him they didn't know about. But I've known him for a very long time, and because I got so hooked to his music that I got so frustrated with mind he's in gospel. But now that
mm,
he's come out, as this jazz musician, I'm
yeah.
excited. So I'm looking forward to a lot of you guys, just not hiding. And I think about for gospel, anybody who's more, but like, go
It's,
back to the roots.
you see, that's the thing. That's the thing. In fact, to tell you my story, um, I was approached by Gallo uh, for me to start recording my first gospel album
Mm,
in 2018, between 2018 and 2019. Um,
yeah,
I was approached by Gallo. Gallo told me, listen, we don't have money, but we want to
yeah.
sign you. Okay, we want to
Kanja.
sign you.
Okay,
It's
yes,
kanjani manje? When you say you don't have money, but we then came up with an arrangement that we'll do a joint venture uh, agreement. So I record myself somewhere and they'll do marketing and distribution. And I said, you know what, fine, right?
yeah,
So, but I can do the kilo one. I'm like, no, man. These people said they don't have money. So how will they market me?
yes,
Then that's how I
yes,
actually got to do the gospel thingy. Now, simply because they also told me that in South Africa jazz doesn't sell,
yeah,
so they would rather sign me doing gospel than me doing jazz. So that's how I got to then choose gospel than jazz. You see,
mm,
so but I still do my jazz gigs, but I have a concept called Tribute to South African Jazz Legends, which I pay tribute to Yomira Makebas and all that. So I still have to, later this year, I'm going to have a jazz show called Tribute to South African Jazz Legends. Yeah, so it's one of those things. Hence, I said I don't want to be boxed. Somewhere you'll see me singing jazz, and people mustn't say, "Oh man, isn't this guy from one gospel or whatever? Why is he
yeah,
singing jazz?" Because I don't want to be limited to. I'm not even swearing. When I tell somebody that I love them, so what's the story?
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. Okay. Now I get what you're saying. So far in the gospel, with your gospel genre that you've been so hard working on, how many songs have you written? How many songs have you released, or is it albums? Angazi phela ama-singles or ama-albums. So ukuphi manje in terms of that?
sure. I'm not sure how many songs I've written, but I write every now and then. I can't even say every day. Let me say
Yeah.
every now and then. But I've
Okay.
recorded. I've got about three albums, two EPs. I think three singles. So I've got three singles, two EPs, and three albums. So some
And
albums has about 12, 10, yeah.
and how are they doing? Like how are you selling, or wenza ngoba unemali? Okay. Wenza
I
umsebenzi.
I wish. No, not really. You know what? When you're trying to build a brand, money is not really a concern. concern because you're trying to build a brand, and you need to be as much as consistent as possible, and you need
yeah,
to be go all out. So
yeah,
I'm trying to give as much content as possible. I heard you talking about me recording, known as a recording artist, because
yeah,
I'm trying to be consistent and also to have content all the time. People
yeah,
mustn't miss, because I'm trying to build up. And I must say, this current EP is doing extremely well. Um, last year I've released an album called Unmerited Favor. It did extremely well. It picked up in other recordings that I have. In So even this one has actually done so much well, especially on digital platforms.
yeah. And during, I noticed a lot. I This is the point where I noticed a lot that you actually record a lot. During lockdown, when there was no money, when people were fighting for relief funds, Hendrik Munyeki was recording. Do you understand? And I was like, where do you have access? Like, where do you get access for all these funds? Do you have a funder? Do you maybe have a connection with the line? Who's funding?
I actually applied for funding for that recording.
Yeah,
Here's another thing. A lot of gospel artists are too laid back for my liking. Right? They don't try to get into this funding thing, especially of government. They don't know these entities. They don't know National Arts Council. They
yeah,
don't know Department of Arts and Culture. So I've applied for National Arts Council funding,
yeah,
and my plan was to do 2 shows that I will track. So my first set was jazz,
yeah,
tribute to South African jazz legends, and
yeah.
then the second set was gospel, which was my recording, which was Unmerited Favor. So hence I had money then.
Okay. So, do you are you do I ask questions? Yeah, when I learned, the thing is how my how I think and what I say. I'm trying not to say exactly what I think. But are you able to share information with guide them? Maybe it's not a matter of they're not a bazi or no, it's not a matter of ignorance or they don't want to tap into that, but they don't know
Mm,
how to because our government is not as clean, or especially our Department of Arts and Culture is not as
mm,
clean and as innocent as it appears to be. Because I mean, if you look at during COVID, the relief funds were not paid to even people who qualified, people who had
mm,
registered businesses, operating business, taxpayers, who had all the documentation that were required to get the relief funds. They still didn't get any. There was a lot of money that disappeared. So I think it's even that they lose hope in our government because of
mhm,
the money theft that is happening within there, and I don't blame them. But
mm,
if you can maybe advise them on how you got the funds, so that maybe they can follow the same route and know that if he got it and if you did this and you got the funds, some kind of hope and maybe advice to those who have never tried before.
yeah. I think it starts here. Some don't have companies.
Yeah,
So it means if they haven't registered their companies, they don't have compliance documents.
yeah,
So they're not registered with SARS. It was just hand to mouth type of a situation. So,
yeah.
but it needs to start with them registering their companies, and it's absolutely free with
Mhm.
CIPC. And I do help people actually. Even here at school, I teach music business. I talk about these things every day. I help my
Yeah,
own students to register these companies because I see how important this thing is. Because if you go there with just talent, that's how you
yeah,
will then miss such opportunities. So it
mm,
starts with them registering companies, get documentation from CIPC. So it's up to you if you want to do private company or you want to do an MPO, and you need to know which government entities that funds MPOs, which ones that funds private companies or individuals. Like the NLC, National Lotteries Commission, doesn't fund individuals, doesn't fund private companies, but they fund NPOs, right? So how do you
yeah,
go about that? You must have a documentation, so having documentation from CIPC, and also having proposals, things, whatever project you want to do, you must write it down as a proposal, and you must state it clear. It must have an overview, what the project is all about, when do you want
yeah,
to have it, for how long, and then also, if you have done previous events, have pictures of those underneath, show what this is what I've done previously. If it's workshops,
yeah,
if it's a
yeah,
show and all that, have that, those activities that you have done previously, and also lastly have a budget breakdown. Corey, this is how much it's going to cost me from pre to post of this event, of this project. Then from there, we're talking SARS, have a
yeah,
tax clearance certificate, have financials, an accountant that does your books and balance your books. Then I think if you have all those documents, and then here, and obviously you have to wait for the window to be open. They have to advertise that we are open for funding, and then you apply. You will want documentation, so
yeah.
everything that you would want to have, or do rather, must have documentation.
So you do assist, do you provide these services in your company?
Absolutely free. Absolutely free.
Wow. So,
Yeah.
so people can contact you, they can inbox you. I mean, I'm sure you're gonna give us an email address they can contact you on, in case they
Yep.
need such services and they do have ideas that they wanna propose to the BAC. So, it would be great to have that, so that we help each other to all of us,
True.
because the look, the reality is that akuna motho o tlo jalang o mong space. We are all, everybody has something to contribute, and nobody can be. I can't be you can't be me. I know I'm
True.
so
True.
confident nobody can be me. And but at the same time, if I have access to all the money for someone who wants to do their project, only, I'm gonna give you those contacts, because
True.
this space is just too big for all of us to contribute what we have to in the
Mm.
industry. So it's also great to see other people and ideas as well to
True.
prosper, so that, because when you win, I also win.
Mm.
We all win in this game.
Yes.
And I saw that you were on the morning show, and a few days ago. What was that all about? I saw there's a Jesu case Tabelo. You were singing out that, is it a new single?
I've got a new EP that's out, called Arise. So I've recorded last year,
Alright.
December. Arise, yes.
Mm.
Simply because I got an inspiration scripture from the book of Deuteronomy 1, verse 6 to 8, where God says, You've
Come
been.
on, somebody. You're
Yeah,
preaching.
yes, please. I'm a preacher of the word. Hallelujah.
Yes,
So, where God says, You've been in that place for too long, arise,
yes.
arise and move on, and I will bless you.
Mm.
So I got that scripture. So it is inspired actually by that scripture. So I've released that EP this year, actually, in Jan. Was it in Jan? Hey, Nkotli, I forgot. I
Yeah,
forgot when I released.
you
When
do.
did I release?
You
But I've
do.
recorded
What is
the
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 way
EP.
they make that thing, I thought like
Ish, yeah, no. Sorry about that. But it's recent that I've just released the EP. So I was there to talk about the new EP, Arise.
okay. And how's that going? So just to
Yo,
is it part of the EP? One of the songs in your EP.
yeah, yes.
Okay. Um, so your plan going forward, like you said, you released 3 albums, right? So the plan going forward, are you planning to release a what more albums until you know like how Kanye West kept being consistent with even when people didn't believe in him and just kept pushing. So I'm just in my head I'm thinking about doing the Kanye West style. You're not waiting for your a hit song before you can continue, you know. Uh, releasing more albums. So what's next from BTC?
Well, I've realized that I don't see myself in the next 5 years to come recording myself, because I'm more passionate also in promoting other artists.
Yeah,
I've seen the gap. Like I said, I love working with people. I love helping people, uh, giving out information, and then also helping other people to get to a platform or place where they're able to showcase their gifts. So I see myself signing people under my record
yeah,
company called MONYEKI Entertainment.
right.
Yeah, and also having my own school at some point, all that. Yeah.
Yeah,
So for now,
great.
maybe I will do to until to a point where I'm well established. Once I'm, because I haven't actually reached that point, for the fact that some people haven't known who Hendrik is. I want to get that point. Once I get to that point, I start now. But currently, I'm still doing it anyway, while also building my own brand and also helping others.
Great, great. So you're waking up for the all good and the bad. Stop touching your phone. Finally, this noise, man. Um, your do you have your favorite? Do you have a favorite artist? Like no matter what genre it is, like it's Africa, and who is your global favorite artist?
Graphic.
Yes. Can you hear me?
Uh, no, I didn't get that one. Can you please repeat again?
Can
Because
you
my
hear
I,
me now? Can you hear me
I'm not
now?
sure if it's I that local for you.
I'm asking who your favorite artist is in South
It's
Africa. Can you hear me now? Are you
it's
now?
I don't know what happened. Now I'm struggling to hear.
3210. Yeah, you
You.
okay. No, it's fine. Um, it's fine. Let's wrap it up. Okay. Thank you so much. Yeah.
All right. Cool.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.
Cheers. Yes, thank you, guys. Thank you for being with us on this episode today. As you heard, Uguti, one thing that my guests they keep repeating is that you need to go to school. You need to go and study music because it will give you an advantage of knowing about the industry itself and what to so that you don't get exploited, and I think a lot of people get exploited in the industry because you get into an industry that you have no knowledge about. You don't know, you don't have a company, you don't know who to go to for whatever. So even when you charge a particular rates, people don't respect you because they're like, why should I pay you 5,000? You don't have qualifications. Why can't I pay you like a 1.5 or 500 rands and keep being exploited and disrespected, even though you're talented, but because you didn't study. Even if you do a short course, man, yenza kanjalo, so that you can have opportunities that are available within the industry and to apply for funds. So you can't be complaining about what the Department of Arts and Culture is not doing. If when you don't even have a company that you're running, you're not a taxpayer, but you keep demanding. What are you demanding for you if you're not paying tax? I need to patala. It tax you are giving the government an opportunity to create jobs so that you can apply for them. So this thing is a cycle. So they don't suck money out of nowhere in J&J, and then when you just come, it's hand to mouth, hand to mouth. So let's learn to do it business the right way for this industry to be respected the way it's supposed to be. And as well, once you become a compliant artist, you will get more opportunities, and let's build each other, and we'll provide you with information from Hendrik Monyeki about what to do and where to go, which links to go, as he said that he's helping for free. So let's take that for advantage of that. I mean, I'm gonna take advantage of it because, guys, I've got a lot of concepts and ideas that I want for the music industry, not only particularly in gospel, but holistically. So cela ukuthi ni-register ama-businesses wenu. It's only 200 rand to register your company, and then you get your tax clearance certificate for free, you get your BE certificate for free, and then you start operating, you open your bank account. So when you start approaching corporate companies, bayakulalela because they're like, yo, this person, you are registered, you are compliant, like you're a business, you run as a business. So it doesn't matter how much you charge nakhona, bazokubhatala mfethu, because clearly you know your story, and then you can bring other people under your wing and work with them on a full-time basis. I mean, that's why most of these secular music artists are very successful, because that's what they do. That's what they do. They have managers, they have PR, they have. I'm not talking about those who have managers, baba exploit high. But we realize ukuthi expectation exists kakhulu ku gospel space, because aninanzaba. Mawungena uthi ngiculela uThixo, but ulambe, and then you die ulambile, because it's always about I'm singing for God. No, once you get into the music space and you're in people's faces, you must then consider yourself someone who's doing business in the industry. But as a study it, if you are gonna do this, do it or don't do it at all. Do it, give it your all, or just don't do it at all. So this is Gaddafi Manafi signing out. See you on the next episode. I've got more guests to come, and to share their stories and something that you can learn from, especially for our future generations. Toodles! Have a good one. See you again in a short while. Goodbye.